Top five, top five, top five.
Yeah, girl, you ready to do this? You ready to count this thing down? We're doing the top five, heard? Yeah, let's set it off with 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ranked Top 5 List of Stuff That Don't Matter. I'm your host, Tuong, and it's a very exciting time. This is the very first podcast in the new Pod Cavern home, but this is the very first podcast with a new group of friends who are having their own vodcast, I hear. On the other end, I was not invited to this, but they're having their own kind of Zoom fun time, party, orgy. Well, I'm not sure if it's an orgy. You guys can tell me later, I guess. But Orgy Master, the first guest I want to introduce is Mike Mongiardi.
Hello, how are you? Do you want me to say anything or just introduce the next guy?
No, I want to talk to you, and I want to talk to you, Orgy Master. I mean, if you'd like to be called that, I'm sorry.
Let's get into it. We were having our little vodcast right before this, which was basically we hung out and had one drink together before the show, and for some reason that needed a name, and that name is vodcast.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Mike, I'm so happy that we got this working. You and I, look at this. The power of two podcasts together have created something special, I'm hoping.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to introduce the next guest today?
You know what, Tonga, it would be my honor. I've brought with me today two of the co-hosts of my podcast, That's How I Remember It. And of course, I would like to introduce the linchpin of the whole operation. The one, the only, Raul Delgado. Give him a hand.
Raul, hello. Let's guess. Give it a hand. Everyone at home. Applause. Raul, hello.
Hey, how's it going? How you doing?
It's going good. Thank you for being here today.
Do I say something or do you want me to just introduce John?
You guys are so polite.
I'm so glad to do your podcast. I love the premise, and I'm really excited to get into it. And I will say one thing that did occur to me. I think I'm built for this because when I was making my list, what I was thinking wasn't like, oh, it'll be so fun to like hear everybody else's. It was like, oh, when I bring these up, they're just going to agree with me. So like, why?
We'll see. If we ever have a podcast where everyone agrees too much, I tend to like to throw monkey wrenches in there because why not?
That's good.
We gotta have drama on this podcast.
Hey, you need the drama. Anyways,
we don't need yes man. Raul, do you want to introduce the final guest?
Oh man, do I ever? He's the light of my eyes.
Hi guys.
Wait, I'm not done.
What? Did you want me to just come in, or do you want me to let him introduce me?
Oh, you know what? You guys can just take over.
It's man. John Richardson, and we love him.
Hi guys.
You said you have a hard H in your name, so yeah. John Richardson. Hello.
I'm doing great, buddy. How you doing? That's not what you asked.
That's not how I asked.
That's not what you asked.
I mean,
I think you're planning too far ahead, John.
I'm glad you're doing well. You know what? I want to hear your favorite catchphrase of all time.
My favorite catchphrase? I mean...
Yeah, I feel like you have many.
Has anybody ever... nobody's ever going to beat Somebody Stop Me, right?
Yeah.
Man,
you mean
that movie was 90% catchphrase.
I know.
Yeah. I also loved his delivery in the movie where he said, "Somebody stop me."
And wasn't the other one smoking?
I much prefer Son of the Mask personally, but
yes.
The Jamie Kennedy joint.
That is a solid monkey wrench to throw into the conversation.
Yes. I don't know if you guys knew this. Our topic today is actually top 5 Son of the Mask moments.
Oh. I think it's probably the one with the baby.
Is there a baby in that one?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Loki and Odin, I think, are in it as well.
The baby gets the mask, doesn't he, at some point?
Yeah.
Is there more than one mask?
No, there's only one mask.
There's still one mask. Okay, good.
Guys, don't bring up Son of the Mask unless you're ready to deep dish on Son of the Mask.
I was not ready.
And spoiler alert, nobody stopped.
But somebody should have.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to have these folks over here to talk about some important shit. Because in movies, there are things that happen that pull at our heartstrings and make us feel stuff. And that usually is death. But we're not going to bring it too down today. We're going to talk about top 5 iconic death scenes in movies.
Yeah.
You guys took a couple days to think of this to really nail down what you wanted to talk about. Can you guys describe why this topic?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, because we do a podcast, That's How I Remember It, which is a improv comedy podcast where we improvise based on famous movies, well-known movies.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do something in the vein of movies. So we had a couple ideas knocking around, and we were really, honestly, the real front runner for a long time. Was porn titles.
Yeah, based on movies.
Yeah.
And what we started doing is we were 100% on board with that idea, and we all individually went ahead and made our lists. And then when we talked about it the next day, we realized every single one of us immediately abandoned the concept of finding funny porn titles and just wrote our own.
So they're imaginary porn titles?
Yeah, which doesn't... It's harder to vote on, I would say, when we've all just made things that would make ourselves laugh.
Yeah. Well, when we run out of topics, we'll eventually revisit that one, I think.
Oh, don't worry. I think it's safe to say we've got our list here and we're ready to do it right now.
Run through them, John. Go over there.
Yeah, John, go ahead. I want to hear at least your top 3.
Oh, no, that's okay. We can do all 10. Let's burn around the circle real quick. You ready, guys?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Okay, I'm sorry, Tuong. We're going to come back.
Okay.
We're going to come back to your thing.
This is way more important. I don't know why we didn't do this in the first place.
Well, guys, first off, I started with Jamie Blonde in Dr. Yes. Because I thought of, how in porn, they would definitely make
If this is the pace we're going to be going at, it is going to take way too long.
Don't worry. I've got 9 more. So,
Oh, Jesus.
What else you got, guys?
All right, I got one here. It was a Jack Nicholson movie, As Good as Clit Wets.
That's good.
Very bad.
Remember that one?
Well, I have a different style. I like to go fast, and I like to let it not give you time to think about. So maybe it was all good when you heard it all. So I had the Golden Cum Piss, the Gaped Gatsby, Honey, I Shrunk Your Pussy, Ant-Man and the Wasp-Sized Pussy.
Wow. Oh, dude.
That's very
Two pussy titles.
You're right. Let's go quick through it. I didn't want to do all the Jamie Blonde series, but there were 20. But I'll just give you Quantum of Sore Ass. How to Squeeze
good.
a Cock with 10 Gays. Back to the Finger. Or that 90s movie where they got deep into safety. Remember the Trojans? Triple X-Men, Babes with Boobs and Ass. The Cocksucker Prophecy. They're almost there. There Will Be Butts.
There Will Be Butts. That's a good classic.
That's
Dick
good.
Blower Society. Reservoir Dongs. And of course, Holes.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And mine is, I got Wet Dreams Will Come. Pube 2, Hyperpube. Oh, yeah, and then of course there's Terry Gilliam's Brazilian.
Of course.
Of course, Brandon Lee's last movie, The Blow. Of course, there's Sister Ass 2, Blast in the Grab It. Citizen Canal. The Cream Mile. The Cream Mile was a good one. The Squirt Locker. Everyone loves that.
Very good, very good.
Blast from the Ass. And of course, last but not least, Tin Cuck.
Very, very good.
Oh my god, I'm just blown away because when we started this conversation, I sent you guys a list of I don't even know maybe 15 to 20 topics, and you guys went off and ranked your own stuff.
Oh, it was too much fun writing this list. I was I could have done 10 more.
Honestly, we're very sorry for taking over like that. It was super obnoxious, but at least we didn't stretch that out to 90 minutes.
Oh, we still can. We still can. Well, if the folks at home like this new segment, send us an email. We can make it happen. No, we're not. We won't make it happen. Maybe a whole episode one day. Who knows? But hey, listen, let's go back to death scenes, which seems way more dark than porno titles. Before we get started, we would like to create some ground rules for this episode.
I think
something
that's a
to
safe thing
keep
to do.
us in line for when things get super heated, okay?
Right.
So I guess the easy one, let's just break it down here. We said death scenes. So we will be nominating a scene from a movie rather than like just the death of a character. And it seems like really nitpicky when you think about it in that way, but I think there's some deaths out there we can be like, these are iconic deaths, but you don't actually talk about the scene of their death.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So it's like if the death of a character was like impactful to the narrative, but this scene wasn't, or maybe the death happened off camera, then it doesn't count. Is that what you mean?
No,
I think I know what you mean.
There's an example I want to pull. You know what? Maybe I will pull it because my partner was the one who told me about this, and I was like, oh, okay. It's been a long time since I've seen A Walk to Remember.
Okay.
I vividly remember the whole thing of that movie is that she dies at the end of the movie, but apparently there is no real scene of that at all. Like the movie like goes to climax, they have a wedding, and there is it's just assumed that she's dead later kind of thing.
Right.
But there's no like scene that like really addresses that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was saying, where it was like super impactful, but there was no scene, so it doesn't count, I guess.
Yeah, or like Forrest Gump. He just says Jenny dies, and we see his face, and we cry.
Yeah.
We don't
Right.
actually see Jenny die, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to have a nomination right off the get-go that won't have the death on screen, but I think it makes sense to this topic.
I think it's impactful to the viewer in some way as well. That it's either emotionally it makes you sad, or it's exhilarating, or it's exciting, but like it affects you in some way.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like the nominations we have will elicit some sort of emotion for us.
I mean, I think if that's not already a part of your list, I think you should maybe reconsider your
Maybe you should leave and rank porn titles instead.
No, but I'm just saying it's not like pop culture relevance of the death, because then we just have the list that every other person has on the internet, and that's not what we're here to do. We're here to
No.
the definitive list.
That's right. The only list that really matters. I think there will be some overlap for sure, but at the end of the day, it's our opinion that matters today.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about movies and film because we did kind of talk about like there's iconic death scenes in like books and comics and video games and all this stuff and TV, but that's way too big of a net. So we wanted to just narrow it down to movies. Any other things that we want to outline here?
I mean, I do have a couple more porn titles that were suggested by a friend of ours. You know what? Let's save them for later. Let's save them for later.
You know, when there's a lull in the episode, I just want you, John, to just spit it out.
Sounds good.
Okay, great. You have my full permission for that.
You know what's weird? Spit it out is one of them.
Wow, good. I'm good at this game.
Oh, should we accept if they come back to life later? Then the death is no longer count.
No.
I think it's the scene.
It's still a
that we're
death scene.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yes, I am.
All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. That's a good point. I think if we run into any nominations, like, in the moment that we're like, we can, like, talk about it.
Yeah.
And if all of us kind of disagree with that point, we'll let that person renominate.
And honestly, maybe it'll affect the top 5, but I don't think that particularly should affect our initial nomination.
Exactly. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Just like every episode of Ranked, we're going to go around 3 times, nominating 3 nominations each and making a master list of 12 and whittling that down to a top 5 iconic death scene in movies. So my very first one, I kind of alluded to this earlier, but I'd be remiss not to talk about it because it is super iconic. It's the thing that people remember when they think about this movie, and I am talking about a Disney film, and I think about there are so many deaths in Disney films, and I think that's a thing that they've been doing for quite a long time, where they like make you care about these characters, and then they'll find a way to gut punch you. But there was one movie that kind of spearheaded the entire process of it. And when I'm thinking about movies and I'm like, death scenes, I really kind of go back, at least for the animated stuff, I go back to Bambi's mom.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good one. That one hit me hard for sure.
Yeah. It made me like real excited. Like I was down for it.
Yeah, you were like,
what are we talking about?
Yeah, he was so sick of getting grounded all the time.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I hate deer.
I hate you. I vote. I'm on the side of man in this movie.
That's right. Progress.
Yeah, this is a movie where the death happens off screen. You don't actually see Bambi's mom fall. You don't even see her body afterwards. It's a huge impactful thing. I actually watched this movie not too long ago for another one of our podcasts, Disney Dummies, and just rewatching it, the movie is fine, but that death scene still impactful. It's
Works.
scary as fuck.
Yeah. I think a lot of times things that are off screen like that, particularly for kids, because you get the imagination going, right?
Yeah.
And you still see everybody's reaction to it. Like the gunshot goes off and everybody's head goes up, right?
Yeah, everyone's like, oh my god, what happened? And like the most heartbreaking thing is Bambi like hides into a cave afterwards, scurries into a cave, and Bambi's like, oh, we did it, Mom, we did it. And then Bambi comes out and they're like, Mom? And it's like, oh my god, so sad. Very sad.
Make me cry right now just talking about it.
I think probably the saddest part is where Bambi then, like, in the cave, Bambi has to fight Darth Vader,
It's
and then
so
cuts
nuts.
open the mask, and it's like, inside the mask was Bambi.
It was a Bambi. It was a Bambi.
There's a Bambi, and Bambi's mom was there. Yeah.
That was the worst part. It was very scary.
Yeah, it's crazy that Bambi is a dual force wielder and whatever dyad is a dyad. Is that a thing? I don't remember. Anyways,
Yeah, I
that's
think
my
that's
first
right.
nomination.
I've
Yeah.
never seen Bambi necessarily, but I'm trusting that 3 out of the 4 of us have seen
Wait,
it and are deeply
you haven't
impacted
seen
by it.
And by the way,
Bambi?
the porn title for Bambi is also just Bambi.
Yeah. Or Bimbo.
Oh, okay. Mike, what is your very first nomination here?
All right, so we're gonna go first one. I think this one, it might be like a little bit more like not the first one that would pop into someone's head, but I always thought it was really fucking dark. Can I say fucking?
Yeah, you already did.
Sweet, dude.
Hold on.
All right, party
follow
on,
up.
dude. Let's do it.
Can I say fucking?
No.
No.
That's where
We get
are.
one person
no.
gets to say it.
Well, I'm a little
We have a
baby.
conch that we kind of pass around, and whoever has the conch can say
Yeah, I
fucking.
got the fuck conch. This one really, like, I just thought it was so dark and cool. So and it was like not a particularly great movie, but the end was awesome. So it was a Stephen King adaptation, The Mist.
Oh, yeah.
right.
Oh.
That's a good one.
And at the
I've
end,
never
it was
seen
like
that.
The Mist was. Can I spoil it?
Yes, please.
I think
The
we're going to
Mist.
have to definitely
Yeah,
do some
we have
spoilers.
to.
Oh
on
yeah,
this scene.
spoilers.
The Mist is like there's monsters in the mist and people are hiding from it and they are trying to avoid the mist, right? And then basically it's taking over everything. And at the very end, the man is in a car, like trapped in this car. It's in the middle of the mist. He has no way to survive. He's in the car with his son, and he has a gun with one bullet in it. And he's like,
His wife and like 2 friends too.
Actually, yeah,
Three
he has a gun
bullets.
he has a gun with 3 bullets in it, and there's 4 people in the car, so
Including himself, yeah.
including himself. So he's like trying to do the honorable thing, and he kills them to prevent them from getting killed by the monsters in the mist. And then as soon as he kills his son, the mist starts to dissipate, and the army rolls in, and then he's saved, and he's just like, whoa, fuck, I murdered like my son and like my 2 friends.
And
It
you
was like,
just see
whoa.
you just see an explosion of emotion from Thomas Jane.
So
yeah,
good.
just
Yeah, it's-
screaming and like pain, and like that's how the movie ends, and it's like, whoa, man.
Whoa.
It's
That's
a hard
also
hitting ending.
not how they made that ending for the movie. It was
Oh, really?
not- yeah, it's not in the novella. So and it's just a huge gut punch. It totally makes the movie.
100%.
It's
So
really
the
only
movie's
thing I
not
remember.
good, but the ending is cool.
The
what
movie
you're
is
saying.
good.
I think the movie's
is
alright,
a good
yeah.
movie, yeah. But that
Okay.
ending is a great ending.
Okay, cool. That's super dark.
Yeah.
I'm into it though. I like it. Shall we move on to Raul? What do you got?
Ooh, what do I got? Okay, so mine is going to be... I'm going to play it safe right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to play it very safe.
Smart.
it.
Smart.
And, when I thought of it, I was like, man, how long did it take me to feel something when I saw this? And it was like, and how fast was it? And like, what was it? And when it comes to mind with death scenes and an unlikely place to have found it, the wife from Up.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
good
I had
one.
that too.
I-
That's
Ellie.
a gut
considered it.
punch too.
Yeah,
I crossed
talk
it
about
off, but I considered it.
I mean, talk about a scene that like gave only what 1 minute of time of just showing you this guy's life,
Yeah.
and then like
5 to 10 minutes.
oh my
maybe,
god, yeah,
maybe?
and then she dies, and you're like, oh my god, why?
Well, it's because it's a 1-2 of, again, spoilers, but it's the opening of the movie. It's the 1-2 of, like, they have a miscarriage, find out they can't have children ever, and
my
then
God.
fast forward to she dies and he's alone.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
They did all
oh.
of that. They did all of that without any real humans acting, like with all of the CG and all without I don't believe there's any dialogue or anything. It was all
No,
just
it's
silent.
a montage. Yeah.
I think at the beginning there was dialogue when they're like kids, like hanging out in like
Yes.
the
Yeah,
treehouse
yeah.
or whatever they were doing, and then that's when we get the whole montage with the do 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 do.
Yeah. Oh, that's
music.
and that score from Michael Giacchino. Mwah. Beautiful.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah,
Michael,
That,
related to you, Michael Guccino?
Yeah, all of us are related. Actually, I'm going to see him at the Michaels meeting tomorrow.
Oh, you're related by the first name,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
the last name. Wow, I didn't know that's how it worked.
And yeah, that's the side note. I guess it's like Oscar award-winning score that also made us all feel that. And yeah. So that's my pick. That's my
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
my
it's too
first
bad
pick.
score isn't the category we're doing right now. But
All right, John. All right. I can't wait to hear yours, John.
All right,
Oh.
John. I think John has a big one coming up, so
honestly,
let's hear it.
I'm actually going to start small. I want to start with a super fun one, I think.
Not a porn title, John.
Oh,
Death.
It's
yeah,
not,
yeah,
it's
not a porn
porn
title.
One of those hilarious
No, this is a
fun
little
deaths.
little fun
A fun death.
a little fun death from 1994, I believe, that I still think of almost daily. And it's portrayed by a man that we all know as Pee Wee Herman, but his real name is Paul Rubens, and he plays the vampire that dies in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie.
Oh, that was a fun death because
It's
he never
terrific.
died. Yeah.
He never dies. He gets stabbed and he just goes and he slowly dies and he slides out of frame and they cut away and they cut back and he's still dying and then after the credits they cut back and he's still dying.
That's
That's
so interesting,
very
but he
funny.
never dies.
He
Yeah,
dies.
Wait,
Does he die?
does it show him dying or dead? Does it show him dead?
Is it
John.
implied he's
Here's the
dead?
thing. He's already undead.
Well, the
Whoa.
undead cannot live anymore at some point.
Yeah, that's right. And he got stabbed through the heart, so he died.
John, I
Anyway,
think this one's
moving on the list.
disqualified. No, I think this one's disqualified.
The score by Michael Guccino, he was pretty good. Let's move on.
This is a weird. Yeah, I'm not even sure how. Like, I love the nomination, but I'm like, does it even fit in our like tiny ground rules that we created? Like,
You know what? I didn't think it would happen so soon. Honestly, I'm astonished, but I'm gonna have to put my foot down on this one. And I personally speaking, I don't know how you guys feel. I just don't think it qualifies.
whoa. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would allow it if like, yes, he's undead, he's technically dead, but if a vampire gets staked and dies again or whatever,
Yeah.
then I would qualify it, but the question is, does that happen in the scene?
Or does he never die?
Right, John, you're the expert.
Yep. Anyway. Tom, you got one?
No, well, I think we should linger on this because if we don't take this nomination, then we don't have a list of 12 later. So
Oh, I could. You know what? I will give you a backup because you guys are jerks.
All right. Okay. Okay. Well,
you
so
know
we're
what?
taking
Here's-
Buffy off of the table
We'll take
because
Buffy off the table,
because there was not a death, I guess,
and
a real death.
instead, the reason that I crossed up off of my list is because I thought of a different animated Pixar movie that had a death that affected me even more. So I thought I should
Debatable.
maybe give up No Slot and instead give it to Coco, the character Coco.
Oh,
from
Mama
the movie
Coco.
Coco.
Mama Coco?
Mama Coco.
You're talking about Mama Coco.
Mama
when
Coco.
She after she
Oh, Mama Coco.
were you the voice actor of Mama Coco?
Mr. Papa here, gonna get. Remember me, remember me.
And for the listeners at home, you're probably hoping that it's Raul Delgado doing that, but nope, it's John Richardson doing that appropriation.
Very good, very good. Raul, do you have your own impression of Mama Coco, just so we can even this out a bit?
I've never seen the movie, but my best guess would be like, and I am Spanish, so I'll preface with that before I go off. Oh, and Mama Coco, here we go. Welcome to the underworld. Let's go. Ooh, I'm a skeleton now.
You sound like a rip-off Mario.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to give that to John.
John wins this one.
Wait a second. You can't take the win for here.
No, he wins. He clearly wins this one. That is actually a really good scene. That one
Yeah.
also made me tear up and well up, and I believe I cried. I believe I cried.
So do you see
Yeah.
what happened here? All of us have submitted a animated movie except for
Interesting.
Oh, so
Just
that's
And a
round
Disney
one.
movie, no less.
Just round one.
we have 2 more rounds to go, Mike.
I know.
I'd also say that John didn't and then did.
John got to squeeze in a second one.
Right off the get-go, first nomination was already axed, so
I'm
we'll
super
see how things
excited
go.
to do 3 or 4 every time my turn comes around.
Okay, well, let's go to round 2 over here. Round 2. Wow, what a round 1. All right, I think a lot of mine today are pop culture based. That's kind of what I'm into. I like these types of movies, but one that stands out to me is a very near and dear movie that I watch once every year or two, and I'm talking about the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And specifically one movie, which is the first movie.
Oh, yeah.
Where Boromir, Sean Bean's character, bites the dust in the
Man.
final moments of that movie.
All those arrows, poor man.
Poor man. Yeah, it's just an epic fight type of thing where this man who was consumed by the pull of the ring is just like so obsessed with
So
it,
good.
and then realizes that he's like, oh man, I fucked up. I gotta like make it up in my final moments by doing like the good thing,
He gets
which
his
is save
redemption.
these hobbits. Yeah,
So
and
good.
then he gets shot like by a bunch of arrows to the chest, and he just keeps taking down orcs, and it's epic, really, truly.
Yeah, it's a good scene.
Yep.
Nobody
Yep.
can argue with that scene.
It's 100% one of my favorite films. And
When I go
gotta-
home at night, is it the scene I'm going to remember? I'm going to fall asleep to that scene? I don't know.
You don't fall asleep to Sean Bean?
But it's a good scene.
Oh, okay. Raul, you like this scene.
I'm sold.
Sounds
I
like.
love Lord of the Rings. You already had me at Boromir and getting shot, and that being in slow motion forever.
He had you
and
at
feeling
the
like-
whole thing.
I had
You
you.
had me at once you described the whole thing and said the name. And
I
then,
had you at Lord.
Lord, yeah, or look. But yeah, I was. I'm already on your side on this one. So you're gonna get no
fantastic.
debate on my end. It's a death scene. He dies. He redeems himself. It's amazing.
He comes back several times. He just pulls from the clutches of death just to kill one more orc every time. It's quite awesome.
and then
Mike,
names
I'm not-
Aragorn the one true king.
Right, exactly. Oh, yes, of course. Mike, I'm not hearing much excitement on your end. I expected
You
more
know
from
what,
you.
dude? I like the Lord of the Rings movies, but nothing in them really affected me in any significant
I think that's
way.
how I feel as well.
So
It's
I
like,
think
it's
you
fun.
might be having a uphill battle on this one.
Yeah.
Raul, I know you're with me, so this
I'm
makes
here.
me feel good. Okay, good. Oh, thank God, thank God. All right, Mike, what do you got? Some real life, non-animated movie, I bet.
Yeah, it's not an animated movie. And you could argue that Lord of the Rings is an animated movie.
That's true. I could argue that pretty well, I think.
and honestly, I do love those movies. But Anyway, we're moving on. This is not an animated movie, live action movie. This is a death that didn't affect me in the way that it was like
Sad.
emotionally sad. It affected me in a much more visceral way of the reality and my own existence, and just seeing how painful and fucking brutal death is.
I think I know
feel
what
like,
you're gonna say.
I feel like everyone might have this on their list, but there's I don't remember the character's name, but Adam Goldberg in Saving Private Ryan,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
when he
right.
just gets fucking slowly stabbed in the heart with
Terrifying.
a knife, and you just see the knife slowly go into his chest, and
Yeah.
he's just freaking out. The camera's just fully on him that whole shot, and it's just brutal.
It's
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
that one. That was the first one I thought of when we were coming up with titles, because I was like,
Yeah.
that one really stuck with me.
That is a solid moment of realism that anchors that movie, of that realistic already movie, but that moment of where you're going, if this were any other movie, he'd find some way out of this, but there's no
Yeah.
way out of this.
Yeah, he's just he's just muttering no, and it's awful.
It's like,
And
let
then-
me, let me, it's okay, let me talk to you. He's
Oh my God.
pleading with him.
Oh, and then on top of it, this is in favor of this scene, but that character that stabs him was the one that the new rookie kid or whatever let go the first time, and he comes back
Yeah,
and just kills one of them
yeah.
after they let him go.
That
Yeah.
just made it even worse. That made it even more. I just got goosebumps. I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
Of it,
Yeah,
but yeah.
I think my favorite part of that scene is when that character gets shot with a couple arrows and then takes down a couple orcs afterwards. It's quite riveting, really.
It is, and then
I
he
forgot
names
about that. You're right.
him
That
the
was
one
a
true
weird.
king.
That movie did take a weird turn at that exact moment.
and that's scored by Michael
moved
Lucchino.
Let's move on. Raul, what do you got?
Oh, my turn. Oh wow, that happened so fast. Okay. Okay, so this one is going to be kind of a hot take, kind of controversial.
Oh, I love those. Let's
You know
hear
what I
it.
mean? Okay, so it's gonna be it's actually not controversial at all. It's gonna be the Emperor from Star Wars. When Rey, JK, that's stupid. No.
Oh my god! I was like, no.
I know. I had that
Now we're
locked
talking
and
about
loaded.
dyads.
There's never been more silence than just letting you, giving you rope, keep going somewhere with it.
I thought I liked this guy.
That's so funny. Yeah, I know. I had that locked and loaded. I was like, God, it is so funny that someone could say that and then continue, and you'd be like, oh, right.
Yeah,
you
real
survived
cool
somehow.
scene, man.
Okay, so what I was gonna say though, actually, was Snoke in The Last Jedi.
It is a cool scene, yeah.
It's awesome. It's a turning point for the Kylo Ren character.
Yeah.
Establishing him as what should have been the main antagonist going forward. And that was it. Like, it was so cool. Like, in a small scene, you see him come up with the idea of how to kill him, and he's arrogant enough, and you see all these wheels turning at once. And then and he gets so brutally cut in half, and you don't see it coming.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And
And it just-
honestly,
yeah.
that movie in general,
oh,
it's so...
Yeah.
Star Wars is crazy how I disagree with almost everything fans say.
Yeah,
Like
honestly,
that-
I'm with you guys. Like, I loved The Last Jedi.
I loved it too. I
It's
really
one
liked
of
it.
my
This-
favorite Star Wars movies.
Oh my god, okay, I found my people because
Whoa!
everyone I talk to about Last Jedi, I have to be like, I like Last Jedi, and then I have to run away because I know exactly what they're going to say afterwards, and it's a whole thing.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it. They're not people, they're sheeple.
Whoa. You guys heard it first. Yeah, the Snoke, I'm so interested in this nomination. I mean, because I also like this scene, and I assume people are screaming at home, being like, "You chose this scene out of all of the Star Wars deaths." But you're right. It was a really surprising turn in that it was definitely the climax of the movie, and
man.
the best part of it, I would say.
So
Yeah.
surprising, and it just he was already they did a good job. If they decided to make him the villain, totally, they set him up that way in The Last Jedi to do that. But he also was still just like a Palpatine, so killing him off wasn't the saddest thing in the world. But it was
Right.
so satisfying to see Kylo Ren make this choice that was so clever in the way
Yeah.
I love Snoke saying oh, I can see now, you know what you have to do when you're going to kill Rey, and you know you have to do the final strike. And he's reading something, but he can't read that he's actually planning on killing him. It's all these things that watching it again is it's great. Ryan
You know
Johnson's
what?
good.
You had me at Snoke dies, and you can see the wheels turning, and a lightsaber comes out, and you can see the two levels of the...
Yeah.
As soon as you described that whole thing, you had me.
Raul, you had me at Lord of the Rings, and no, I don't. I don't know. John, what do you got? Second nomination. Let's hear it.
I think I'm also going to do a bit of a visceral one. Are we only doing 3 nominations each?
3 nominations each. The rest are just honorable mentions, but they won't make the top 5.
Okay, oof, that's tough. Okay, you know what? All right, I'm gonna go for it. So this one maybe should be an honorable mention. I think it's up there. It's more visceral.
Go with your heart, man.
So this is the death of an actor named Paul McCrane, who in fact has another honorable mention on my list for a death that he has in a TV series that we can talk about later. But in this movie, he plays Emil, and it's one of the big deaths in the movie RoboCop.
Oh, that was on my list.
Emil gets melted by toxic waste,
Oh, so good.
and then hit
Yeah.
by a car and exploded against a windshield.
Oh, that wasn't on my list. I had the Squib guy on my list.
The squid guy is good.
I had Alex J. Murphy.
Honestly,
shit.
Whoa,
RoboCop.
3 different ones.
There was 3 or 4 on, and I also thought of the guy that gets shot in the dick.
Yeah, it wasn't really a death scene, but yeah.
Death of a dick, that does count.
Yeah, but no, I think to me the one that stuck with me as a kid, because weirdly I saw this R-rated movie as like a 6-year-old, was the one where he gets melted by toxic waste, and you just see him exploded, and he's just green goo inside his body after he gets exploded.
Yeah, it's weirdly graphic for not having
Yeah.
any blood in it, because
It's
it's just
so graphic.
a weird off liquid thing coming from his body, and it just explodes. Yeah, man, I'm that's a good one.
It's the kind
Yeah.
of it's the kind of effect you can only get with practical effects.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
I
there's
miss
no way
practical
to
effects.
I mean it was just so brutal and weird, and that's a good one.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, there is quite a few good death scenes in RoboCop. Man, it's been a while since I've seen
crazy.
That's so crazy.
RoboCop
We all
is-
had different ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I
that.
mean?
And all
when
I
s-
wrote was RoboCop. I forgot to even specify it on my list. I'm like, yeah, RoboCop's pretty awesome, but yeah, that's crazy.
Can I just walk you guys quickly through the honorable mention that Paul McCrane has in TV?
Yeah.
I didn't do it because it's in TV. But
Oh, ER. I know you're gonna say.
in-
Sorry. I
Exactly.
should've
He
shut up.
plays Robert Romano in TV's ER, who's like the asshole doctor that everybody hates.
Oh,
so
yeah.
in one season, he goes up to the roof because somebody's being transported by helicopter, and the helicopter, he reaches up and the helicopter blade chops his arm off, and they're unable to reattach it. So for the next season and a half, he has to learn how to be a doctor with one arm. And then later in the series, he has to go back up because there's an emergency, and he's got PTSD about going on the roof, obviously. He can't face going on the roof to see the helicopter again. So he has a panic attack, runs downstairs, and goes outside to get fresh air. And then it cuts to, like, the helicopter's point of view. And it's like the revenge of the helicopter. It snaps loose and flies off the building and just flies down and flattens him. And it's all shot like the helicopter has a will of its own and really wants to get him back because he escaped the first time. And that
Whoa, sounds intense.
it's insanely ridiculous and
Yeah. What a weird choice that they made with that.
yeah.
Well, I like the RoboCop nomination. That sounds pretty cool too. And guys, we only have one more round of nominations
Oh,
here,
God,
so
this is
make it
tough.
count. Oh, I'm having a hard time because the stipulation of iconic is the thing that's kind of iconic is obviously super subjective, but I also think like iconic also probably means that it has to have been around for a little bit of time to have even be considered to be iconic. So
That's
like
interesting.
Maybe, but
Like-
I have one on my list that's I would say is iconic, and it's like from the last few years.
I might
Okay.
have it. I want to hear
I think we
yours.
probably all have it. Yeah,
I'm
not.
curious
Tom
because
definitely
I
has it.
I think I know what you're gonna say too. I might
do
have
you
it
have
as
it?
well.
Okay, well, oh god, because I have one that I might be the one that you guys are thinking about.
You know
but
what?
It was only in the last 2 years, I think, or year.
You know what? Let's never mention it again.
I'm going to go rogue. Let's do
It'll be
one
funny if
extra
nobody
round.
mentions it.
Let's do a top 16.
Don't yet. No, John, you're trying to take over the podcast, and I like it. You're hired.
And if I can add one more thing, fuckless in Seattle.
Whoa,
Sorry.
whoa. That's okay. That's is that your entire porn title list? Did we go through them all?
No. Well, that was all of mine. I actually have a few extras that our friend Isaac Kessler,
Oh, no,
who's
what
an
did you-
incredible
of course.
comedian,
Isaac had some. Right?
Sent
That's
me.
good.
He sent me fuckless in Seattle until now.
Yeah.
He also sent me Magnum Holia, Teenage Huge Tit Finger Girls, and of course Teenage Huge Tit Finger Girls 2, Release of the Ooze.
Okay.
And his last one was Two Girls, One Tin Cup, starring...
All right, let's. Isaac, if you're listening out there, thank you for that. We're gonna go to our final round, and yes, I think I might let you guys, if you're thinking about that same one, I might let you guys take that over, because in my head, I'm thinking about like when people think of iconic death scenes in movies, what do they usually go to? And I'm gonna go with this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with the scene. Let's go boring. Maybe I don't want to go
You know
with
what?
it.
Toss it out as an honorable mention and let's move
You know,
on.
yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go with something a little bit more cool, I think, and I'm gonna go the death scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark,
Okay.
That's a good one. Classic.
where the Nazis just get it. Now, if people don't remember, the Nazis basically find the Ark, and
I thought you were
it's a
gonna
whole.
Explain
it's
the
a whole-
Nazis.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, there's a guy named
1939.
Hitler.
Hitler invades Berlin. Hitler invades Poland.
Some guy, pretty weird mustache. Anyways, no, the Nazis in this movie, there's I believe 3 of them, and they find the thing, and you're like, oh my god, like the good guys lose. It's insane, and this is also a really good testament to like how great practical effects were back in the day, because we have people who explode, and most notably one person who just freaking melts.
Yeah.
And I think it's a iconic image in my mind when I think of this movie, and I actually haven't seen this movie in a very long time. But when I think of Indiana Jones, I immediately think of this movie and that scene because it's just stuck with me.
What's weird is I have almost exactly the same thing, because whereas that is the cool stop motion face melting scene, I had Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where the guy dissolves into old age through the same process, and it affects you in the same way, where it's like kind of a kid's movie, and then all of a sudden there's one insane nightmare fuel death.
It's crazy. I think it probably did give me nightmares when I was a kid, because I was like, what am I watching right now? Why are they dying like this? But it is pretty cool. I was watching a few clips beforehand, and it just looks so good for back then, and even now today's standards. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think they didn't even come up with a PG-13 rating up until that point, so that was like
PG,
for like listed okay for kids to go to, and like his head melts and there's like blood and it turns white and stuff.
Explosions, implosions,
explodes. Yeah, exactly.
The eyeballs
It's gnarly.
pop, yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, Mike, what do you got? Final nomination. Is it what I think it is?
No, it's not going to be that one. It was on my list, but that's going to get honorable mention. And maybe it's because it hasn't. We all know what it is, but maybe it's because it hasn't had enough time to really sink in.
I don't know what it is.
No? Okay. Well, we can talk later in the honorable mention time.
I love
you. But I love you too, buddy. So this is, I mean, when we're talking iconic deaths, I'm frankly shocked that this hasn't come up yet. I can't pull the character's name, but I'm sure all of you can.
Alan Tudyk?
No.
I'm just ruining your momentum
Good
completely.
guess. Yeah, I think it was the Alan Tudyk from Premature. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Where he played
I
the
don't
principal
remember that.
in a time loop movie that loops every time he premature ejaculates.
You're talking about In Time, that Justin Timberlake movie?
No. Premature. It's a time loop movie where every time he premature ejaculates, his day starts over again. And Alan Tudyk plays the principal. Anyway, I'm thinking about not that at all. This is in my notes I wrote Alien Spaghetti Man because I can't remember his name, but that first death in Alien when they're all eating and having fun.
Oh yeah,
it's
John the chest burster.
Hurt.
What's his name? John
Hurt.
Hurt. Yes, it is.
John Hurt.
Is it John Hurt?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So that first kind of chest burster, the first reveal of like the chest burster, that's pretty iconic.
It's insane that we didn't have that yet, and I didn't even have it on my list. So I
also forgot about it.
I had it ready for my list in case.
You had it ready to go, yeah. So if I didn't say it, you would have said it next.
No, I had another one I was going to put instead, but like because I figured someone else would say Alien as well, because it's a really good one.
So that one's going purely in the like it was just so interesting and so like out of nowhere, and it was like unexpected, and it was so iconic. Like everyone knows that scene. They parodied it in Spaceballs, if you recall.
Oh,
Whenever it was dancing and singing and dancing. That's my final entry.
Very good.
Into the
I like that. I like that a lot. I'm glad Alien got its props. And you know what? I saw that movie not too long ago, and that movie still fucking holds up. I will fight anyone who says otherwise.
No, it's terrific.
Great.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Raul, what do you got?
Oh, man. So I'm caught between... And Mike, you didn't say the one that you were thinking of or whatever, that we all apparently have, right?
I didn't, no.
I know, and I'm so tempted to say it, but I have a different one. So the one I'm going to say, and this one I think you have on your list as well, is Sam Jackson in Deep Blue Sea.
Okay.
Whoa.
No, I don't think it's on my list.
Okay. Well, he's giving his like...
Is that the... and the incredible score in that movie by
Paul
Mr. Cool J? Remember, deepest, bluest, my hat is like a shark fin?
My hat is like a shark fin, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you describe that death scene for the people who've never have seen
So
Deep Blue Sea?
essentially, there's a group of people... All you need to know is that all of them are low-bill actors, and one of them is Samuel Jackson. And at this peak moment of point of no return, they're probably going to die unless they do something. And Sam Jackson shows up after everyone's like screaming and crying, and he's like, "Hey, we're going to figure our shit out." And he gives a roaring speech that sounds incredible, obviously. Yeah. And then this shark that no one's expecting comes out from the pool behind him after he's almost done his speech and bites him into the water and effectively killing what you thought would be the leader of their group.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. That is cool. That is a fun one.
And then it becomes a Tom Jane vehicle.
Exactly. Yeah, picture it like the president giving the speech in Independence Day. What if right at the end of that roaring speech, a boot just came down and landed on him?
Like a Monty Python boot.
Yeah, that's a good analogy for that. Yeah, no, that's a pretty good one. I don't think I've seen that movie front to back, but I've seen that scene.
Yeah, that movie's not like amazing or anything, but that scene is almost makes it worth everything.
Are you not a Saffron Burrows completionist?
No. Should I be?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. All right. I will be a saffron bro by the end of this podcast. But John, you have to give us your final nomination here. Bring us home.
Tough.
Good luck, John.
Okay, so I alluded to Alan Tudyk, Wash in Serenity. I thought it was going to be
that's a good
Mike's.
Yes, that is fantastic.
That's a real good one.
I don't think it's my number last. We're not numbering these yet.
Number last?
My number last.
I don't know if that's a number.
I'm going to save honorable mention. I'm going to save honorable mention, and I'm going to go out on a limb
Oh boy.
to give you one that I'm pretty sure you guys don't have. And that's the father, played by Bill Nighy, in the movie About Time.
I never saw it.
Is
I don't know what this is.
It's a romantic, British romantic comedy by the writer-director of Love Actually and Four Weddings and a Funeral. That's about a family that all the males in the family learn to time travel, and
Interesting.
Yeah, it has stars. What's his name? Donald
Gleason.
Donald Gleason and Bill Nighy. Donald Gleason is the main character, and he time travels to like find his wife and fall in love, and he realizes at the end that his father's going to die and he can't travel back in time to ever see his father again, because if he travels back in time anymore, he could affect the conception of his children. So he has to give up time travel in order to keep his kids, but that means he has to say goodbye for real to his father. And there's like a real sad moment where he has to accept the passing of life.
Whoa.
It's pretty
cool.
heavy.
That's
I
really
think
good.
I need to clarify for the people at home, because I think when people think of Bill Nye, they immediately think of the science guy.
Oh, yes.
No, this is Bill Nighy, the science guy.
No, I'm talking about Bill Nighy, of course, best known as the vampire from the Underworld franchise.
Or the father in Shaun of the Dead, or
Okay. all
Or,
right.
yeah.
I see a pattern where you gravitate towards vampire-like people or people who played vampires.
turns out.
I've never seen this movie, but I recognize the art, or I guess the poster for it, because I used to work at an electronics section, and this movie never grabbed my attention. But
It's
the
definitely a
travel-y thing
sleeper.
sounds cool.
Yeah, it's one of those that the premise sounds kind of dumb, but everybody that I know that's seen it really likes it, and it's got a very good emotional core, which is important, guys.
It's an important feature to be iconic, I guess. Mike, Raul, before we wrap up here, what are your thoughts on time travel?
I think it's not Christian, and I don't think we should ever touch it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with Raul on that front. But as far as time travel fiction, it's probably my favorite genre. Time travel, time loop movies. I just recently did a watch party with John on that new Palm Springs.
Andy
I want to watch that.
I want to see that too.
Yeah, it's a fun time loop movie. It's
very
a good
fun.
one.
How'd you guys watch that? Oh, you found a way to watch that?
We
Yeah.
downloaded it.
Okay. Oh, I just want to out you. Like
Come and get me, cops. Fucking dare you.
Just don't say your address, and you should be okay. All right, guys. Well, we have our list of 12 here, and we have a lot of deaths here that we have to ponder over the break a little bit. But when we're back, we're going to have to rank these bad boys. So everyone take a little bit of a break, have some more vodka on your vodcast, and when we're back, top 5 iconic death scenes will be ranked. We'll be back.
I love you.
Oh no, I got no place to put my shoes.
Raul! It's me! I came from the future! Raul! I'm sorry to interrupt what you were doing with your shoes, but I had to come and see you right away.
Wait, I have that birthmark on my face.
That's right, Raul. I'm you from the future. I'm
Hey, it's me from way in the future.
Oh my God, no.
Where, it's me, baby Raul. Me.
Raul, all of us from all the different timelines, we all are depending on you right now to save us. You can only do one thing. You need to buy shoes.
What?
You need to support Jeff Bezos. It's the only way we can all survive.
Don't you
Yeah,
understand?
Raul, do it for us. You have to use the Podcavern affiliate link, Raul.
But if you're gonna be on Amazon anyway, you might as well use the Podcavern affiliate link, and it doesn't cost you nothing.
Costs you nothing. It's the same amount of money. It's crazy.
God damn it, Raul! Calm down and listen to us. Don't you understand? You need to stop looking and start doing. You need to buy shoes, because if you don't, Jeff Bezos won't have enough money to support the internet future that's going to decide whether or not we go to Mars. We need to go to Mars, Raul, because that's where we see the first time the Diamond Pentax. The Diamond Pentax that's going to keep us from losing the intergalactic war, Raul.
So I just use the affiliate link then.
Yeah, and buy whatever you want,
getting
whatever
it.
you're gonna buy anyway. Just buy it with the affiliate link.
Okay, here's a little quiz. If you use the affiliate link, it costs you $10 more. True or false?
False,
False.
you dummy.
False. It costs you nothing more, and it supports the Podcavern. So just do it, loser.
Yeah, go to www.podcavern.com. Use the affiliate link. Buy from Bezos, and he'll save us from the Quintaxicons. Oh, we're being sucked back.
Whoa!
Goodbye.
Podcavern.com.
Top five.
Hey everyone, we are back and ready to go. Ready to rank an iconic death scenes list. We have a big list of 12 here that I'm also surprised. I don't know. Someone said on break that they were surprised there wasn't more overlap, and I agree. Does this list look kind of weird to you?
Yeah, I was shocked. I thought there would be so much overlap.
Yeah.
And there honestly wasn't any yet for me.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe some of our honorable mentions are going to have overlap. I think we all kind of decided maybe to go with the ones that we thought other people might not have.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how the game of ranked is always played. You kind of go with either, the one that people don't have, but if you go too niche, then how are they going to support you when we get to the top 5 section of it?
Yeah, you gotta
so it
play the
becomes
game.
like, you got to play the game, and did we play the game right? We'll figure it out. Some people at home are already mad that we didn't actually nominate the Emperor Palpatine scene in Rise of Skywalker. I'm sure
But you
someone
know what?
out there is like that.
They can play the ranked home game and do it on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like you
can order
kind
the
of what you
ranked-
guys did before the podcast.
Yeah, just buy the ranked home game on Amazon.com using the Podcavern affiliate link.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go to
Free plug,
www.podcavern.com and use that link.
I wasn't expecting free advertisement during the show, but this is fantastic. Guys, let's do this. Let's rank this list of 12 here into a top 5. So what we have is we have Bambi's mom, the mist ending, the scene from Up where Ellie dies, Mama Coco from Coco. We have Lord of the Rings when Boromir dies, Saving Private Ryan, Knife to the Heart, Last Jedi, Snoke, RoboCop, Melted Toxic Waste, and then we have Raiders of the Lost Ark, Nazi Explosion Melting, Alien, the movie Alien, Spaghetti Man, Deep Blue Sea, Sam Jackson. All of these descriptions are getting worse and worse. And then About Time, Bill Nighy, the science guy, sad father scene.
You know what?
Is what I have.
I feel like, because I'm going to get zero support for About Time because nobody's seen it. I kind of want to swap that out of my list. Game decision. I know it's too late. I want to put
You
in.
can't.
Well,
It's too late.
well. Here's the thing. I think the
You're
listeners
gonna put the
with
Buffy
me
scene?
when I want to put in Spock from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Ooh. Hey, that would have been maybe acceptable, but it's too late.
It's too late, John.
It's too late.
Okay, well, let's just agree to disagree and say that.
I will say though, like this is a good way to get through it. Is we usually star nominations to get further, but I think right off the get go with About Time, like it sounds like a pretty powerful scene. I'm not sure if you have the support from the rest of us, but maybe Raul and Mike, you want to take that away? Maybe you have different feelings.
Honestly, it sounds good. It sounds really good.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And some of these other ones stick out to me a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds awesome, and I love time travel. Somehow, so it's hard to really connect to a scene if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
So I'm going to let it go for that reason, but for those people that have seen it, I think it's also one of those things that another reason I'm going to let it go is I think anything with fathers connecting with sons can be really emotionally connecting to male viewers, and it doesn't necessarily affect female viewers the same. I think female viewers probably like it as a movie, but it's one of those dad dying is going to make men cry, which is why like Brian's song was from a generation before us was like known as the movie to make men cry, right? Because
Interesting. I would also say with About Time, like if I think of like iconic death scenes in the entire lexicon of movies ever made, like I don't think, I feel like I'm pretty tapped into movies too, that like I've never heard people reference this movie in terms of iconic death scenes. I understand they might like it a lot.
Don't you think this is an opportunity for us? This is what I was saying before. Are we just going to make the same list everybody else makes? Are we just repeating a cracked.com list from 2007?
No.
Or are we
'cause we're
making
better
our
than
own
that.
list? Or are we going to bring things to people and introduce things?
Yeah, like I could have just Googled, top death scenes, but I like deliberately was like, don't even do that. Like I need you to think and think truly about what scenes truly affected me.
What did I cry at, basically, or what did I laugh at? Or for example, what's another example of an emotion, Raul?
That feeling you get when you open a nice big can of beans.
Horny.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yes, I love getting horny when I open a can of beans.
That's the only way I can get off these days.
Yes. Some people use Viagra, but I just open a can of beans and leave it there on the table.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even like
Quarantine's
eating
changed
beans.
a lot.
Yes, I agree with your sentiment, John, but I also feel good about cutting it. So
That's
goodbye,
fine.
About Time.
Don't worry, I'm going to feel good about cutting plenty of yours.
Oh, this will be.
Here we go. Here we go.
Didn't we just say we loved each other before we started recording?
I can love you
Anyways.
and not love your list.
That's true. That's true. You can't do that. That's very mature of you. Now, let's go into starring some nominations here. So what we'll do is, all that means is we'll star for further consideration and see if that will make us go any further. Now, we try not to star our own nominations to make it more interesting and so that we can have like a better conversation with this. So how about we go around and star something from somebody else's list and see where that takes us. And we'll start with Mike.
I'm gonna star. Yeah, this is pretty easy. I think for as far as impactful to me, and it's a little bit. I know you're gonna think it's a little bit basic, but I'm gonna go with Up Ellie.
Yeah,
Give that old star.
very good.
Give it all a star. Okay, good. Raul?
Okay, so I'm looking at the list again, and I'm going to vote and put my star onto the Saving Private Ryan, Knife to the Heart.
Excellent. John?
I think I have to, because we all didn't think of it, but it's sort of a perfect answer. I have to star Alien.
Alien Spaghetti Man. All right. Let's see.
Were they
Those
eating in my memory?
were
I haven't seen
eating
this movie.
spaghetti,
They were
yes.
eating spaghetti, yeah.
They were
eating
right.
spaghetti.
Okay.
Just plain spaghetti, and like it's so true how like it's stuck in my mind too.
Because you think he's like at first you think he's just choking on spaghetti or something's
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah,
and then,
totally.
Like, the alien pops out of his chest, which you never expect.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
think the other thing
yeah.
about that is it's so great because I'm sure you guys have heard lore of behind the scenes of movies. The actors that were with him didn't really know what was going to happen. So their reactions are kind of viscerally true.
like organic and
Yeah,
like
they knew
he's-
that there might be something happen during the dinner scene, but they didn't tell them when, and they didn't tell them that something was going to shoot out of his chest and spray blood all over their faces. And yeah,
And like, there's no way. Yeah, there's no way that doesn't improve the like.
Oh, totally.
Whatever iconicness of that scene. Like,
Yeah.
you just
Right. For myself, I'm going to star the RoboCop scene.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, RoboCop was on all of our lists,
Yeah.
and I think it should be at least discussed more. I think.
Agreed.
Okay, so what we have starred so far is Saving Private Ryan, Knife to the Heart, Alien, Spaghetti Man, Up, Ellie, and RoboCop, Melted Toxic Waste. That is 4. Now we'll just kind of open it up and see if there's any more that we want to fight for. What do we all think here?
I want to fight for.
I mean, 2 of my 3 were already chosen, so I feel selfish.
You feel
pushing,
pretty good.
pushing my last one. But that missed ending is like probably.
I think I agree. The missed ending is very good and deserves to be.
That's pretty cool.
Deserves to be around for it.
The missed ending is great as an ending. It stands out
Right.
to me more as an ending than it does a death scene.
That's an interesting point because the actual part that affects you isn't where the kid dies.
That's true.
It's afterward when you realize he didn't need to die.
Yeah, but doesn't
Right.
that make it
And
worse?
from my-
You got to have the death scene of the kid dying, and then moments later he realizes that he didn't have to die at
Yeah.
all, and he did it. He put the bullet in his own son's brain.
Yeah, that's so true. You know what? I'm just gonna take this time of thought to slide over my Snoke Last Jedi one.
Actually,
Okay, let's
I
talk
kind of
about-
I kind of want to start something that I think was on Tung's list. The Wrath of Khan scene with Spock, where Spock dies.
yeah,
right.
You got it.
You
yeah,
have
that's
and are and always will be my friend.
Yeah.
yeah. And while you're at it, you might as well star my Buffy the Vampire the movie and Talon Tudyk in Serenity scene. Although that scene is amazing. I'm sad that didn't make it in there. Let's see if we can make a well-rounded list here, right?
Yeah.
So I identify 3 movies that one of them should make the top 5, I think. And I'm looking at Bambi's Mom, I'm looking at Up, and I'm looking at Mama Coco.
Yeah.
And those are the 3 animated ones. So out of those 3, what I know we starred Up, but I would like to have the conversation. What do you think about having at least one of these guys on the list, and why one should get a better chance to get on the list than the other?
I do agree that there needs to be at least one on the list.
Yeah.
And especially since all of us jumped in on an animated death in the first round.
Right.
I think Bambi's Mom has, being the first one, it sort of did something that nobody'd ever done before for a kids movie, I think. There's an argument there, but I think for what affected us the most, I would guess it's probably not the one that affected us the most, just because it's from a generation
Interesting.
before.
It's true. You're right. I think you're right about Up being the one. Yeah.
I do think Mama Coco is better.
I mean, if I watched Bambi today, that death scene would be sad. If I watched Up right now, I'd be fucking crying into my bowl of
Yeah.
Cheerios.
What would you be doing if you watched Coco, though?
Oh man, I'd be juicing.
You be taking steroids? Is that what you're saying?
I actually haven't seen Coco yet. It's always been on my list of shows.
Neither have
I've
I,
been meaning
yeah.
to get to. But
I really think you guys... I appreciate what you're saying about Up. I think you would have an equally strong reaction to the ending of Coco.
you're probably right, but unfortunately, I haven't seen it.
I've seen Coco, so I think I would have opinion on this too.
Oh.
So I guess out of all the 3, I'm having there are 3 separate arguments we can have about this,
Yes.
I guess. And I think, John, you're right that Coco is probably the better one.
Yeah.
I think. Is it iconic?
I think it is.
I don't know
And I think if
if it
you
is.
disagree, I think you're culturally
Then I'm a bad
myopic.
person.
Then you're a racist.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm a racist. Yes,
I think
yes.
it's the only one that speaks
Sidebar,
to
can we
another
get your
culture.
accent on Mama Coco again? Completely unrelated.
Remember
No.
me.
No, I agree with you, John. I think Coco is probably the better scene, and I did cry during this scene. It's just one of those things that I have a hard time calling something iconic when it hasn't really permeated the culture yet. Even like my own viewings of movie, like I liked Coco a lot, but it's not one of those movies that I've rewatched multiple times. I can't quote the movie front to back. I don't remember what's going to happen scene to scene. So,
you can quote Up front to back.
but I've seen Up way more than Coco.
Well, it came out earlier, and Mama Coco, that's a different culture. You know what I mean? Like it's been seen way more by not you.
Oh man, you're really getting me with these obscure arguments here. Yeah, but that's the other thing is Up. I feel like I have a more emotional attachment of growing up with Up. And I mean, we already talked about that. We don't want to make the most basic list ever. But I've also grew up with this movie and felt sad every time I've watched that scene. It's so well done. That 5 to 10 minutes of this movie is like just perfect. And we're just talking about scenes right now, not just like the entire movie. So I really enjoy that. And then with Bambi... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that. It's also like one of Pixar's last, like, sort of a part of that list of you know, the legend of like all those stories they were planning on telling for forever ago. It's like one of the last ones.
But I think that's like, kind of why Coco then has it's part of a new era that's not on that list. You know what I mean?
No.
Right.
So the argument.
I don't see anyone bringing up Onward later on, you know, and then Coco or I don't know.
Yeah, and I think this is where I'm feeling the conversation's going, so I think I'm okay with this.
Can I throw out one last argument for Coco, and I'm sorry to cut you off. While we were talking, I just did a quick Google. Coco made $100 million worldwide more than Up. So more people have seen Coco than have seen Up.
So more people have cried during Coco than Up.
So, you know, inflation and...
Inflation's between 2009 and 2017.
It's possible. I know. I don't know money.
Never seen it.
Anyway, it's whatever you'd like. I'm just saying, just because you've seen Up more, I think it might just be you're 10 years older and you didn't go to see Coco. But more people have seen Coco than have seen Up. It's a fact.
Is that a fact because more people seen it in the box office than like... I'm not sure. Here, let's go to the Bambi conversation because I feel like I'm okay with letting... It hurts me to say this because it was my first nomination, but it's more that when I was thinking of iconic death scenes, like the first...
It's definitely iconic.
It is to me, it's the legacy pick. This is like this. If this were to make the list, it would be number 5 because it feels almost wrong and crazy not to have this scene on this list because it is the thing that kind of affected like animated movies to come. You know?
Yeah, totally.
I'm okay
but
with
to use a turn of phrase,
but I think it is a very good nomination.
Yeah.
But I think to use a turn of phrase, let's kill that deer. And get out of here.
Yeah,
my favorite.
Let's hide in that cave and wait it out.
Yeah, if there's one thing that Bambi taught us is that we have to sometimes kill our babies. Wait, is that what that movie did?
And move on from our mothers. Yeah. You know what? Okay, I think we can table the conversation of Up versus Coco for now. I think we did enough work getting Bambi's mom off the list.
If you guys need to
Unfortunately,
go for
she dies
Up,
again.
I'm not going to fight you any longer. I've given you all my arguments. If it's 3-1, go for Up. And I agree that Up is great.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't think you having not seen it is a reason to take Coco off.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm speaking as someone who has seen Coco, and I still don't know. But I'm willing to hear a little bit more of this. Let's see where the rest of the conversations take us.
Yeah.
What else do we really want to at least talk about that hasn't been starred yet? Like we have Deep Blue Sea. Is that making the list?
No.
It sounds like John's just bitter and he's taking it out on other people's picks. It might be subtle, but I think you can tell he's doing it.
I'm sorry, I forgot to disclose this at the beginning when I reached out to you guys. We break friendships on this show.
Yeah, this is like the podcast version of Risk, the board game Risk.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, I mean, okay, you know what? I mean, that is funny. That's a very funny, death scene of Sam Jackson. But it's like up against these iconic death scenes. It's tough. But I am actually, I'm going away from that. I'm gonna say that what hasn't gotten enough conversation is Raiders, that death scene in Raiders.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Let's talk about that. I mean, it
definitely affects people, yeah.
Yeah, that was like, I mean, Raiders was like, for my, and as a spoiler alert, for one of my honorable mentions was, you know what, I think all I need to say is Kalima.
Yes.
Nam Shivai.
Yeah. So I was thinking that was one of mine. I was almost picked from Temple of Doom, which I grew up on Temple of Doom.
I did.
I watched it on. My dad recorded it onto beta, and I watched it so many times. And then one day I realized that there was another one. There was like someone was like, "Oh yeah, Indiana Jones. There's this other one." And then Raiders, and I was like, "Holy shit! There's a whole other Indiana Jones movie, and this one's way better." And then that ending was
Yeah.
Well, Mike, just let me tell you, there is a fourth Indiana Jones.
You get the fuck out of here. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
It's quite something.
Crystal Skull, I mean, people hated it. I think I'm on the side of, like, I didn't hate it, but it's for sure the weakest one. But,
Yeah.
I mean, Last Crusade's fucking dope, man.
Oh, Last Crusade is my favorite for sure.
Yeah,
It's definitely
it's awesome.
also my favorite as well. But
Yeah, me too.
I do think that I put Last Crusade on my list because it's the one that I thought of. But as soon as you guys mention it, I did consider Temple of Doom and Raiders. All three of them had an equally like childhood breaking moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So I
Definitely.
think it
So
kind
this
of
is
makes
interesting
sense
to me.
to even just pick Raiders
Yeah.
because it's all three put together.
Yeah, like a legacy thing, like Tong said.
Right. Okay, so that makes I'd be fine with that too, at least to like represent indie. But what do you guys think? Like, would you consider that death scene in Raiders to be, on par with the other death scenes in the other ones?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I could use that.
I could be swayed in any of the three directions for Indiana Jones.
Okay.
So I think Raiders
Okay.
is as strong as the other two.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just didn't know if you felt like it was the weaker of the
No,
three.
I don't think so.
No,
And
no.
if that's the case, then we'd have to
And I
consider
think
it more.
because it's the first one, it has to get the nod because it's the first one, right?
It started it. Yeah, it started
Yeah.
the like. Now we got to find a way to do something insanely brutal in a kid's film.
Yeah.
Yeah, those other
Yeah.
those
Like an
other
adventure
two
film.
death scenes were probably a result of like, oh, we gotta one up that.
Yeah.
Totally.
But also
true,
from Raiders
yeah.
is that remember that dude in the propeller? That was cool too.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so just to recap for the folks at home, we have Raiders that is starred. We have Saving Private Ryan, Alien, Up, and RoboCop. While Mama Coco, Coco, the movie's not Mama Coco. Coco is also starred. I definitely want to have that conversation again, maybe after. And let's see, like, are we comfortable now saying The Mist will leave after starring those ones, or is this still a hot contender here?
I think it's a terrific suggestion. I think it's an excellent scene that makes the movie. But I think Raul makes a valid point that it's not the death itself that
But
makes that scene.
But here's my point. My counter argument to that is that scene. Like he's pointing the gun at his son, and it's the hardest thing in the world for him to murder his own son.
Yeah.
And it's like if it was just that, it would be super memorable. And then the extra bonus of moments later, it not being necessary, and he could have everyone could have lived. That's just like the 1-2 punch of like not only did he murder his son and we watched that happen and we saw the emotion, but then we saw him realize he didn't have to. And if you just waited literally 10 seconds longer, he would have been fine.
And I am remembering now, actually, that scene does drag on. Like the son is shot, and then he's got the empty gun.
Try shooting
And
himself too.
He's just keeps trying to shoot himself with the empty gun,
It's brutal.
and it's brutal and it's heartbreaking. Yeah. Oh, you know what? He makes. I'm gonna give.
It is a really good one.
I'm gonna give it a star. Is that okay?
Okay, we'll give it a start. I think, Mike, like, I've never seen this movie before, so you describing it makes it sound really, like, the death scene sounds awesome. I'm just looking at, like, all these other ones that we have on our list here, and as someone who's never seen The Mist, and frankly, never heard of The Mist up until today, it's hard for me to go with you the entire way to say this is an iconic death scene in movies.
Right.
I mean,
but
like I said, I have 2 stars already, so I'm happy to let this go. But I do want it on record that it's really cool and it's really good writing and it's really heartbreaking and awesome.
Right.
And the acting is great. And it's worth watching that whole movie for the ending. Even though you know what's going to happen, I think it's worth watching it.
even though we've spoiled the ending.
And more importantly, I think we need it on the record that Mike has the best list.
Mike has he has an okay list. No, it's pretty good. I mean, everything's starred. Okay, let's go into, there's 2 more that we haven't discussed, but we'll just make sure that they won't make the list, or maybe they will, who knows. And that's Lord of the Rings Boromir and Snoke the Last Jedi here. Thoughts on, I know how you two feel, when I say you two, I mean Mike and John, about Lord of the Rings Boromir, but Raul, as the other person who loves Lord of the Rings, what do you think about this scene on, how it impacts movies and deaths in film.
I think one of them was agreed upon that it was awesome, and the other one shook an entire fan base into hysteria and to making 5-part reviews on why it's wrong or whatever, and losing their minds. And I think that was the sign that they like maybe hit on something that was, you know, pretty good and like pretty like, you know, earth shattering for the fan base. It seemed like.
Sure.
Can I suggest that I do like the idea of, because we've got like if we're doing a slot for each in the top 5 for one is heartbreaking, one is an animated one that makes us cry. These are the two that are like really cool action scenes.
Right.
And so maybe we make room for one of them because of that, like as a representative.
I can see that argument.
Yeah,
Okay.
which one do I like more? The one I selected or the one Tom selected?
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. My argument for the Lord of the Rings one, I mean, like, you know, we've kind of talked about your argument about like it shattering the fan base, which before we've kind of also said, fuck the fan base. We want to go off what we think as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that if we're talking about a death scene, I don't see any death scene on this list so far that is like literally fighting back with the like last breath of your life to make a difference kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that's where I feel Lord of the Rings like tops it, is because this is epic to me. Like Snoke, that was a really cool thing, no doubt. Like I like Last Jedi, but like he gets chopped in half and it's really cool, but he just dies. And then there's an amazing sequence that happens after his death. But the whole Lord of the Rings thing is like this one dude, and like there's a lot of emotion that is packed because of all the stuff that happens in like the last 2 hours of the film, 3 hours of the film. And for him to kind of just go off swinging is like really, really cool.
I don't know. The same case can be made for Snoke, because like it's not just Snoke, right? It's Kylo Ren fighting against Snoke, and we didn't think he would kill him then. Like we didn't think he'd. We thought maybe they'd fight him and then he'd escape, and then he'd be there for the third movie. But he just offs the guy and finds that weakness, and it's like, so it's like, you know, it was important. He fought back against killing Rey, and he chose to kill Snoke, and in his mind, he was making a difference.
Does it ruin the death scene that in the last movie they created a zillion clones of Snoke and they never addressed it?
That movie's. Like, we should make a whole other podcast as to why that other movie is wrong.
I thought it was a zillion clones of the Emperor.
No, there's a... John, it's the worst. There's a tub of Snokes.
Right.
Did I not even notice that?
Yeah, it goes by very fast.
It's like a shot. They show like barely anything of it, and they're like, "Yep, this is a thing, but we're not going to address it."
It's a vat of Snokes.
Boy, oh boy.
It's so stupid. I've never seen an entire franchise be like, yeah, okay, sorry, oops,
I mean,
my bad.
I mean, Rian Johnson like did a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
Being like, oh yeah, well, everything that just happened, like, don't worry about that. We're gonna redirect the course a little bit. And then episode 9, they fully were like, hey, just forget about all of that. We're gonna start over and do something different. And it was like a franchise fighting with itself.
I don't know. See, I liked every choice Rian Johnson did. Seemed to like answer everything that was.
I loved his movie. Honestly, I'm so glad that 4 people in one room can agree on that.
This is surprising to me. I've never thought it would happen,
and I feel so alone all the time because I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was great. It was so good. It answered the questions that needed to be answered. That that it was great. It's just great.
Yeah.
Listen, I think it's clear that we all landed on Snoke Last Jedi.
Yeah. If anything, the Last Jedi showed us how terrible Star Wars fans are. Like, there's no pleasing them. The fact that they harassed that one actress into basically stopping acting for a while and hiding from, like, it's insane.
Yeah. And episode 9 is their fault.
100%.
Oh yes, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's kind of, maybe it's hard for me to separate the death scene of Snoke and like everything that happens in Star Wars. Like, as someone who likes Star Wars, I also agree with that. Like, it's complete bullshit, like, all the time. But like, it's, to me, like, that scene doesn't resonate as much as the death of, say, Darth Vader, for example.
I see what you're saying.
Like, I don't think that Snoke dying is the iconic death scene in all of Star Wars.
That's
so
a really
I can't
good point.
see it as the iconic death scene that's going to represent all of Star Wars. You know,
I think it will be for the next generation, in the same way like the Ewoks were like nonsense to the people that grew up with the first trilogy, and then now there's an entire generation of kids that were like, yeah, we love it, and we justify it because it's like they were, underestimated. But now people like Ewoks.
I love an Ewok.
Oh no!
I think it's the best
that
thing Apple
Apple's
ever
walk?
did. Yeah.
Point being, in the future, there's going to be people that are like, yeah, I grew up with it, and it was awesome when Snoke died.
right. But that actually is counter to your point here. Like, because in the future they might see it as iconic. Is it iconic now? And I would say no.
If you're young at heart, it is.
I think there's only one way to solve this. They're both off the
Fist
list.
fight.
Well, is the question iconic death scenes
Yeah, like it's
that the name of
top
the
5
episode?
iconic death scenes in movies.
in movies? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, iconic is a very important big word. But, I mean, I honestly, can I be honest with you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a memory of Boromir's death scene, and I don't really have a memory of his character. So, what
Yeah.
is that? What does that mean for
I mean,
iconic?
I vaguely
Means
remember
you hate
it.
Sean Bean.
I know it's a meme that Sean Bean dies and everything, and that's sort of the front runner when people show an image of him dying. But I think when we talk about it, 2 of the 4 of us weren't emotionally affected by it.
And you know what?
Yeah.
And I'll say too, speaking as someone who loves Lord of the Rings as well, it is not after seeing the whole trilogy, it's not even like, and even the whole movie of the first film, it's not even the
Bilbo
the
dies
most
in that movie, doesn't
impactful.
he?
No, Bilbo dies in the third one, but like even in the first one, there's this whole, there's so many scenes of like Gandalf dying, and like, at the time.
Gandalf doesn't die in the first movie, though.
When you're watching it for the first time and you don't know the books, you're like, oh, this impacted me, and they're all crying at once and whatever, and like, Sam's
Right.
still following Frodo. There's so many other moments in that movie.
You're right. We should just
That
cut
hit
Snoke off
more.
the list.
Fly, you
I think we're
fools.
getting caught in a hole, guys. I think we need to move on.
We are caught on a hole. Let's rejig here again for the viewers at home. Raiders of the Lost Ark. We have The Mist is Off. It sounds like Saving Private Ryan, Alien, Up, Coco, and RoboCop. That's 6, and then we were kind of debating between Lord of the Rings and Snoke. One of those 2 making the list. I do think one of those 2 probably belong here, but. Yeah, where do we want to go? How about, do we have any unanimous locks on this list? Is there anything on this list that we all agree wholeheartedly
Has to be on
it
the
should
list.
belong on the top 5?
I think
Whoa,
Alien has to be there.
Up has to be there, right? That's what we agreed on.
Here, let's
remember.
I'll go one. I'll say one by one, and everyone just say lock or not lock, and
Okay.
that will give me a good enough gauge on where we're at.
Great.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, lock or no lock?
Lock.
No lock.
Oh,
No,
Okay, that's enough to move
Okay,
on. Saving
okay.
Private Ryan, lock or no lock?
Lock.
lock.
lock,
I'd say lock too. All right, Alien, lock or no lock?
Lock.
lock.
Yeah, lock. Up, lock or no lock?
I'm gonna
I'm
lock.
gonna lock.
Sure.
It's tough, but
I'll give it a lock. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
it's just
I'll lock
tough
it.
for me. I know we've gone over it a million times. It's fine. Go ahead.
You're right.
Okay, so
It's just,
just to keep track, we have Saving Private Ryan, Alien, and Up as locks. So technically, there's only 2 more that actually will make the list. Is Coco a lock or no lock?
here's the issue. The 2 of the 4, the
No
2 people
lock.
that have seen Coco and Up agree that it's a better death scene.
Yeah, like I'm sure Coco is gonna destroy me. I feel like I have to abstain because I know it's gonna be great. Pixar
I'll abstain.
is gonna be great, but like, and they always do great stuff, and everything I've heard implies that it would be great. I just haven't seen it, so it's like I
Yeah.
don't know what to say about it. So I abstain. You guys figure
Abstain.
it out.
I abstain as well.
Okay, this is not good for the lock or no lock.
I'll stay in. I say no lock. I say no lock in that case.
Okay, that's enough. And RoboCop, lock or no lock?
I kind of want to give it a lock because it's the only one. I guess it's Nazi. It's in the Raider. It's fighting for the Raider slot, isn't it? It's one or the other.
Yeah, I you know what? Now that you mention it, I feel weird if Raiders and RoboCop made it, only
Yeah.
because it's
They're-
specifically both referencing a melted person. That's tough for me. Like I was initially thinking both of them should belong on the list, but they're
No,
kind of
it's
similar.
got to be one or
on-
the other, I think.
Yeah.
So what's locked in right now then?
Saving Private Ryan, Alien, and Up.
So we've got 2 slots left.
2 slots left. Everything else is kind of fair game, although we still technically have Coco, RoboCop, and Raiders. But I think Raiders or RoboCop will make the list, so maybe we should talk about one of those.
Yeah, I think we should
I
do.
say Raiders.
Yeah, I think I mean, obviously I nominated. I like RoboCop better, but Raiders is probably more iconic if you want to stick to that.
I don't
word.
know. No, I like what John's standing at, and like, yes, if I had to pick the movies that I love most, and like, I love Raiders and I love Indiana Jones, but I love RoboCop more. Just it speaks to me more for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna say RoboCop.
So for me, the argument that was made for Raiders before really like stuck with me, and that was like this scene kind of almost represents the 3 Indiana Jones movies that I like, and I really love that series. But if this is the scene that's like, it's almost unfair. He's like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Nazi explosion melting represents all 3 movies, and you got this one RoboCop scene.
Although the one RoboCop scene is representing the three RoboCop deaths that could be 3
Yeah,
of
it's
the
true. I
5
had
on the
RoboCop
list.
on my list too.
That's not even mentioning the other RoboCop death of the guy getting shot by the Ed 209.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
That's the squib guy,
But-
right? Is that the squib guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
'Cause I
that's
think-
what you said. My bad. Yeah.
The thing about RoboCop is 3 of us had it on our list for 3
Yeah.
different deaths.
Yeah.
So we're talking
I think
about
RoboCop's
Raiders
got
of the
it.
Lost Ark represented deaths from 3 different movies in that franchise, or RoboCop representing deaths from 3 different deaths in that movie alone.
Yeah, but what does that say? Because we're really nominating or trying to give props to the death scene, right? So if you guys chose 3 different scenes in that movie,
Yeah.
is that...
I mean, so this is breaking my heart, honestly, to make this choice. But if you're asking me what to choose between that scene in RoboCop and that scene in Raiders, I have to go with Raiders, I think. As far as what was most iconic to me and it's like a lot of this is wrapped up in nostalgia, and nostalgia is very much linked to your own personal experience.
Yeah.
But like as far as like watched those indie movies like on repeat when I was growing up.
I did
it's
too, but I feel like for me, I think RoboCop haunted my dreams more.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
is pretty brutal.
It's
Yeah.
stick with me in my brain.
Darn, so we have 2 on Raiders and 2 on RoboCop? This is fucking tough, guys.
I'll break it. I'll break it because it needs to be broken.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what? And I can honestly see it as if we're talking about iconic. I'd say the RoboCop one is fun and really good, but it is not nearly as iconic as the Indiana Jones one. So I'm gonna break it and say that the
Okay.
Indiana Jones one's a lock.
Yeah, if we look at the word iconic, I think it's hard to
I think we have to
argue.
fall back on there when there's like tiebreakers like this. Like
Yeah,
it's hard to
exactly.
navigate and do it. Because otherwise it's just nostalgia and what we like better. Because I also fucking love RoboCop. It's awesome, but I do think of the Raiders of the
Yeah.
Lost Ark as one of like iconic death scenes of all time. That kind of stuff.
When
so.
Michael Keaton gets into that movie, I'm like, man, RoboCop's so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
As a remake
yeah.
joke, guys. Moving on.
Okay, so Raiders, Up, Saving Private Ryan, Alien. We only have one more slot onto this list that we can put on here. It could be the discussion of the Lord of the Rings Snoke thing, although I didn't think we were getting very far with that. Although it did sound like it was leaning Snoke, and I would plant my feet and say that that's ridiculous. Although, like, I think that's really great, but I do think Darth Vader dying is way
Yeah.
more significant.
I think,
in terms
honestly,
of death scene.
Of the arguments we've had, I think I feel more strongly about Coco than I do about
And the amount of vote.
Snoke. And I'd rather have Up and Coco both on the list than have only one animated movie because we wanted to have one action scene on there. You know what I mean?
I see where you're coming from.
Right. What do you think, Mike?
I'm personally never gonna budge. I'm gonna say Snoke, but so it's
Yeah.
gonna be up to you guys to decide this.
Let me.
Yeah, I wouldn't budge for say Lord of the Rings. Although, like, I'm looking at the other ones now. I'm like, what else just makes number 5? Is it Bambi's mom?
I gotta refresh my memory. Was that Snoke death? That was the same scene as like that like badass like fight scene where he was fighting all those like red like stormtroopers.
Yeah,
like,
they fight the
whatever.
Imperial Guards. Yeah,
Man, that was such a cool scene though.
but
It was cool, but that
scene,
wasn't his death scene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
I know.
it's just like the follow up of what happens because of his death, which is awesome. Like it was a cool scene, but
Yeah.
like that whole like fighting in the room with those like badass guy with those like really cool weapons that we never get to hear a justification for later. Like that's stuff that happens afterwards.
Yeah, I do
for
feel like
me, it's
that's
a build
more
up.
of a top 5 fight scene than it is a top 5 death scene.
Yeah, I put it in for the death. I put it in for the death and the build up to the death. But regardless,
Ugh.
All right, I veto.
What does this mean? You veto away.
do you veto yourself out?
That's right. I gotta go, guys.
Are you trying to? Oh, no! We need you. Okay. Okay. So for the ones that we haven't mentioned that would make the list is Bambi's Mom, Lord of the Rings, The Mist, Snoke, Deep Blue Sea, RoboCop, and About Time. I know we've kind of like cut some on and off, but like I feel like we're having a really hard time getting our fifth one on the list here. And I don't know either. Like it feels, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Have you ever just been outvoted, Tongue?
Always, every episode.
Okay, why don't we each vote for what we think should be our 5th one? And if any two
Okay,
people
great.
agree, then we've got it, right?
Sounds great. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'd be interested in hearing that. And I would say like the rest of the list that has already been cut should be open games.
Yeah,
still.
anybody, anything you want, if two people agree,
Yeah.
it gets on there.
This would likely be spot number 5. Keep in mind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
But the Benedict Cumberbatch version of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Of course, that was the best one.
All right, we'll start with Mike. Go ahead.
So I pick of the ones that are
Just-
remaining. What's my top pick?
Yeah, your top pick to be number 5.
Yeah, everything's open.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'm gonna go with Raiders.
That's already
It's on the list.
That's already there. That's already on the list.
Yeah, I know. I was just I was just kidding. I'm a comedian.
Oh, okay.
Bambi's mom.
Okay.
Going back to I know we're kind of digging an old hole, but yeah.
Okay. Raul.
Snow.
Okay. John.
I'm either going Coco or The Mist. I'm going to go...
Oh wait, was the mist an option?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go The Mist, because it might be a tiebreaker later.
And now it's your turn to break it.
My turn to break it.
I guess, all right. I don't know.
Well,
Because I'm not sure if Mike changed his mind. I was gonna go back to my Bambi's mom argument of being legacy, not because I feel like my real pick would be Lord of the Rings, but I don't think I'm getting real traction on that, which is fine. I'm not mad about it at all. But I think Bambi's mom would be my number 5.
all right.
I
Bambi's
guess,
mom
yeah.
gets on there, even though it happens off camera.
Which makes it a little bit more interesting?
Sure.
Question mark?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, The Mist, it
I don't
kind
know
of
if anyone's
happens
happy with
off
number
camera,
5. All right. Okay. So let's just, if you're okay with that, we'll go with this 5 here, which is Bambi's Mom, Raiders, Saving Private Ryan, Alien, and Up.
I like it.
You like
It's
it?
pretty
Yep.
solid. It's
Pretty solid.
It's pretty solid.
I know,
It's
we're
not
kinda-
as interesting as I was hoping it would be, but it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Oh, and when do we get to our honorable mentions?
Well, we'll get to honorable mentions after we rank this top 5, baby.
Oh.
So yeah, like even though we have like, if this list isn't interesting to you, wait for our honorable mentions. It's even better.
Fine.
Makes us question the entire efficacy of this list. So number 5 with a bullet has to be Bambi's mom. Like it barely scraped
Yeah,
by, right?
absolutely.
With that, what is number 4?
Raiders, I think.
Ooh, interesting.
I need to see this
Yeah,
list.
I mean, again, if we're going by like the discussion we had, as like Raiders was like almost didn't.
It barely made
cut.
the list, yeah. So it's
Yeah, so yeah.
Raiders,
Oh,
Saving
right.
Private Ryan, Alien, and Up.
All right.
Oh, I agree
I'm
with that.
okay with Raiders being. I would have put it a little bit higher, but
I mean, it's on the top 5.
it's on the
down.
top
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's an honor to be nominated in
Yeah.
the first place. So.
An honor.
That is a good. Like if I'm looking at that versus say, what's the next one?
Saving Private Ryan, Alien, Up, Bambi's mom.
Yeah, I mean they're all so good. Yeah, they're all good. So yeah, I mean it's definitely above Bambi's mom. I think at this point. Yeah, I'm fine with putting Raiders at 4.
Yeah, I'm genuinely curious where Up belongs on this list.
I mean, I've fought against it the strongest this podcast, but only because I thought Coco was stronger, but Up is terrific.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
I could put Up at 4. I could be definitely strongly persuaded to put Up before Raiders. And actually, now that we're talking about it, I think I might.
Yeah, I'll agree with Mike. I'll put Up at 4th and then put Raiders at.
Sounds like you guys aren't that strong about Up. Maybe we should get Coco on this list.
All right. Relax.
I like Up quite a bit, and it's been so long since I've seen Saving Private Ryan that I remember it being like a really powerful scene, but I just don't remember. So I'd have to let you guys decide on that one where that belongs.
I think it's top 2.
Top 2? Okay, I believe that. So how about Alien? Is that the best death scene in Alien?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's hands down.
Yeah.
So, John, what are you thinking here?
I think Alien
you
is
fought against
number 1,
Up.
I think. And I know we're not jumping to 1, but I think by process of elimination, that means I think it's 3, but if you guys make it 4, I'm not going to quibble. I'm not going to quibble over a quabble.
I'm not going to quibby about this.
I would take Up at number 3. I would as well.
Okay, these guys are pretty quiet about it.
Okay, so
Okay.
sorry. So Up...
Upper Raiders,
sorry.
3 or 4.
I think Raiders and Up are 4 or 3. That's what it sounds like, right?
I think for me, I think Up 4, Raiders 3. That's me.
Okay, Raul?
What did John say?
I say that too.
So you can say the opposite. I think I'm with John on this one. I think, which is Raiders 4, Up 3. But
we're not going to quibble.
is that what you're
quabble.
thinking, John?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as well.
Yeah,
If
sure.
I'm
I'll do the
really-
same thing.
Okay.
I think that sounds good.
I'm okay with that. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bambi's Mom 5, Up 4, Raiders 3. Now we have 2 and 1, which is Saving Private Ryan and Alien.
My personal opinion is Aliens number 1.
Yep, agreed.
Me too. Yeah.
And you
Those
know
are
what?
both mine anyway.
And the only thing I will swap out, my on my vote would be swapping Raiders for Up. So putting Up 4th and then Raiders.
Right. I'm okay with Up being number 3. I think I like it
All right.
a little bit more.
All right. Good.
All right, so I think we have our list of 5, guys. We did it. Wow, what a discussion. Yay. So we have Bambi's Mom at 5. Number 4, we have Raiders of the Lost Ark with the Nazi explosion and melting. Number 3, we have Up, where Ellie dies. And number 2, we have Saving Private Ryan, which is knife to the heart. And number 1, we have Lord of the Rings, Boromir. Congratulations. Really great. No silence over here.
I was like, hey,
Everyone's like, fuck this guy. How did this happen?
I have had a lot of
We have
vodka.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be
Alien.
distracted like that. I was just rewatching Spock dying in Star Trek 2: The Wrath of Khan, and I was like a little, I was a little emotional. I gotta be honest.
Yeah. Wrath of Khan wins Alien, the Spaghetti Man is what we've called it, which I'm not sure if that's the best title, but hey, that's what we got here. So, ooh, what a journey we've just went on.
What a journey.
All right, so the next section is honorable mentions. Now, we're just going to rapid fire the rest of the list that we didn't get to go on one by one in the order that we nominated in. And let's just get into it. The one that I think Mike and I were talking about, I was thinking about Tony Stark's death in Endgame.
Yeah, I was. I had both. I had both Tony Stark and Peter Parker in Infinity War, which were both really good.
So,
yeah. But the Tony Stark was like the big one. So yeah.
It was the big one, but I just went back to like, is it iconic yet? I don't know.
Honestly, I would say yes. I think it is pretty iconic. Like it kind of got iconic because that movie was like 12 years in the making. Like
it's also like
right.
I don't know if you've checked the box office, but it's more people have seen it than have seen Coco.
No way. That's impossible. That's impossible.
I had Spider-Man I Don't Feel So Good on my list as well.
Yeah.
And I chose it over Tony Stark in my brain just because I was like, was physically sad when I saw him say that. But like with Tony Stark, it was like, I knew it was sad, but I didn't feel it. You know what I mean?
See, this makes me sad because it's always hard to tell what people, like, if you've never podcasted with before, like what their opinions are on movies. So I was just like, if I nominate a comic book movie, will I be outed as a comic book guy? Like, I don't know.
No,
I regret everything.
I did consider that, but honestly, that wasn't the one that I was saying that I had from the last couple of years. because I figured somebody else would have it, so I just left it off my list. Mine from a couple years ago was from the movie Hereditary,
Oh yes.
Oh shit! I
Yes,
didn't even
yes,
think
yes.
of that.
where the little
yeah,
girl,
yeah.
spoiler alert,
Oh
close
my
your ears
God.
for 5 seconds, where the little girl sticks her head out the car window and gets her head knocked off by a pole.
Oh,
Oh,
boy,
my
that
Lord.
one was
Yeah.
out of nowhere
Awful.
and just horrifying. Yeah, that's a
Scarring.
good one.
Yeah.
Yep. What do you got, Mike and Raul? Give me one.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I got Logan.
Who? Joe Rogan?
No, Logan. Logan? Joe Rogan. I got Joe Rogan. No, I got Logan from the movie Logan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Wolverine,
a good
like
one too.
Actually,
Man.
that's for your
Yeah.
Boromir one where someone's fighting until they die.
Oh God, I would take that one.
That Wolverine,
Man, I
that
didn't know you
Logan
guys like
one's
comic
better,
books.
man.
Man, you
Man, I would've
saved.
fucking
You guys
went-
saved the best ones for your honorable mentions.
Seriously, God damn it! I should have went with those ones. God damn
'Cause
it.
I was trying to do ones that you guys shit me so hard on Paul Rubens and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I was like, I guess I gotta go fucking bullshit that these idiots want pap.
Here's About Time about dads. No, I'm just kidding. Mike, what do you have?
Well, I already mentioned the RoboCop squib guy, so I'm gonna go, and I already mentioned Indiana Jones, the heart pole guy. So the next one on my list is Brad Pitt and Meet Joe Black. Remember, he got,
Oh,
hit,
that
he got
car
hit by
thing?
2 separate cars.
Yeah.
That is yes, that's good. Mine was I had when Bill Murray dies in Zombieland. I think that's
That's a fun. It's
little
definitely
bit.
a
That's
fun scene. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
I'll let you guys just open floor here. Actually, you know what? We'll do it like this. Mike, give me your entire list. What are your honorable mentions?
Sure. Okay. I got Alien Spaghetti Man. I got RoboCop Squib Guy. I got Indiana Jones Heart Pull. I got Brad Pitt Meet Joe Black. I got Frankenstein Murders a Child in the 1931 Frankenstein movie. He murders.
Does he kill her?
He
That's very
fucking
good.
drowns
Yeah.
a
Shit.
female. He
Little
drowns
girl.
a little girl. He
drowns a
it's
little
fucking
It's
girl.
intense.
crazy.
It's
What
fucking
did she say to
intense.
him?
At the
though.
end of the movie, after you're like, oh, maybe he's okay. I have Spider-Man in Infinity War, Iron Man in Endgame, The Mist. I have. Oh, this is a different one. No, again, it's not quite a scene, but it was impactful as fuck. Have you seen the documentary Dear Zachary?
Oh yeah.
No.
When that little baby gets drowned? Oh shit!
Oh my god.
That's a big one. I had Scanner's Explodo Head.
Oh, I was thinking about him too.
Yeah, and then I had Chest Stabber in Saving Private Ryan, and then I had one that wasn't a death scene but was like about death and really good. And another Pixar movie is Toy Story 3 when they're all about to die
In
Right.
the
The-
trash
in the
compactor
fire,
kind of
in
thing.
the fire thing,
Oh.
and then they all kind of like look at each other and are like, "It's okay, you know, we're death is part of life, and you know what, this is gonna happen, and it's okay." And then they all get saved by the fucking
Pizza Planet aliens.
by
Yes.
Ernest. But yeah, but yeah, man, that scene is great when they're all about to
Yes.
die. So anyway, that's my list.
Amazing. Raul, what's your list?
Okay, so I had Snoke, obviously, Deep Blue Sea, Sammy J, right? And then I have written here Joke, Emperor Palpatine, Ray. And then I
Plans out his jokes. That's great.
It's
And
a
then
premeditated joke.
yeah, and then I have Logan, and then I have Spider-Man. I don't feel so good, and then I have Terminator 2, where Terminator puts himself into the lava,
Yeah.
confesses
Oh,
he can
so
never
good.
cry.
Thumbs up.
The wife from Up, and then I also have I have RoboCop Alex Murphy death, and then finally I have Luke Skywalker's death in The Last Jedi, which I also thought was really good.
Yeah, it was.
Honestly,
that
that
was
almost
good.
made my list too. But I thought in my head, everyone hates Last Jedi, and I'm gonna get fucking turned on.
Yeah.
So I
Still can't believe we all like that movie.
Hey, Raul, if you'd said that one, it would have been on the top 5.
I honestly walked out of that movie thinking, man, everyone's gonna fucking love this movie. Man.
Yes, me too.
Everyone's
too.
gonna eat it up. This is next level Star Wars perfection.
This is Empire Strikes Back good,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
When
Yes,
I had
yes.
the same thought. I think we talked about it on our podcast when we first watched it together. I
Yeah,
my first thought after coming out was that might be my favorite Star Wars movie. Like, it was great.
yeah, same.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
We did a Buffy the Vampire Slayer, RoboCop, Serenity, Star Trek 2, Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade, Hereditary, that poll, About Time, and Coco. I also had, for weird, obscure ones, in basically the same death as Meet Joe Black, except it was in Robin Williams in What Dreams May Come.
You mean Wet Dreams May Come?
You got it. No, it's basically the same thing where it's like a car crash death where you see
with Robin Williams.
a car just flipping end over end and then just crush him.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, that's good. That's it. Easy. I do have a couple of honorable mentions for the TV show Lost.
Oh, no.
When Juliet died, I cried my butts off.
Well, we'll save it for iconic death scenes in TV because I'm sure we'll do that
We'll
one
be back
day.
next week on Ranked.
Yeah, next week. Yeah. All right, I'll rapid fire mine.
Yeah.
So we have Bambi's mom, Tony Stark, Endgame. There Will Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis, who kills that guy with the bowling pin at the end of the movie. These are a little bit basic, but The Wicked Witch melting in Wizard of Oz, Mufasa dying in Lion King, Lord of the Rings, Boromir, Darth Vader. I like the death scene in Pulp Fiction where John Travolta just shoots the guy in the face, Marvin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
when he's
that's
driving.
a great one.
I think super funny.
That's
Phil
a great one.
Lamar.
That's a really good one.
So funny. Jack Torrance dying in The Shining in the cold. He's just kind of frozen.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park, the whole toilet death scene,
Yeah.
I think is hilarious.
That almost made my list, too. Yeah.
The boring one that I was going to nominate, but I didn't think would get any traction, and I didn't want to really do it, was Titanic. I think it's just more iconic rather than something I love.
Yeah.
Where Leo dies. And Bill dying in Kill Bill was really cool because he got that like explosion heart punch thing, which is awesome.
Five-step punch. Is that what it was called?
Five
Five
something.
finger exploding heart technique or something like that.
So cool. I love that. An amazing death scene because he just does it. He just walks the 5 steps and dies. The one that I had was like The Notebook, where Ryan Gosling's character dies, like when they're old. Noah and Allie, that's what their names are.
Hold on. Ryan Gosling's character does not die at the end of The Notebook.
Does he not?
He grows up to be James Garner.
Sorry. Oh, you're right. They're the same character. My last one was this was a last minute because we're talking about Star Wars so much and the best Star Wars, and my favorite Star Wars movies is Rogue One, and
that was
when
That's a really
everyone dies
solid
in that. But that's a giant like hour of the movie where everyone dies at the end.
Yeah.
It sounds like we all agree. Rogue One, it might be my second favorite Star Wars. Like Rogue One and Last Jedi were the 2 good new ones.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
Solo was absolutely nothing. Like
It's awful.
Just nothing.
You know, I didn't finish it. I only got halfway through and I gave up on it.
It's
I watched
so
it
bad, man.
it's
I
just
think that's
so
a
boring.
whole other podcast, guys. We don't
New podcast.
Oh boy. Another podcast. Hey, we did it. We made a top 5 list. Oh my god! Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Mike, for being on the podcast.
Hey, my pleasure. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
No, we got other people to thank. Raul, thank you for being on the podcast.
Hey, no, thank you so much, and thanks everybody for joining us today. I just want to say, you have a good night and good luck.
Wow, and I just want to say that the Snoke death scene is real bad. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. We're still friends, right, Raul? I think we're friends. Okay, great. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yummy. John, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much for putting up with my baloney. And I just want to say Raul had me from, thank you for being on the podcast. And then he said...
And you had me at my baloney because I assumed that was the title of your sex tape.
No.
Just because I'm sure people want to know if there's any last minute porn titles we want to plug before the end of the show.
I don't, but I actually thought... I was surprised none of us had any Arnold Schwarzenegger quotes, like kill lines, on our lists. Like, I thought of the him killing somebody with a steam pipe and saying, "Looks like you're getting steam.
Blow off some steam.
Let off a little steam."
Blow off some steam,
Yeah,
Bennett.
there you go.
Right.
How did we?
Or
None of us
he's
had
dead
any of them?
tired. Remember, he's dead tired from Predator?
Yeah, or stick around from Predator when he stabs a guy against a wood pole.
Yeah, we should. Maybe this is a different topic for a different day. But
Okay,
I
we're
like,
getting
I like
carried
where
away.
everyone's spirit is at. Hey, before we let you guys off today, again, thank you for being on the cast. But you guys have stuff to plug. Let's hear it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell
So
yeah,
first
bro.
of all, let's get into it, okay? John Richardson, Raul Delgado, and me, Michael. We all are co-hosts of a podcast along with 3 other fine people called That's How I Remember It, where we improvise movies.
Yep, and we recently did our first 2020 COVID podcast and released an app. So we're going to start getting back into putting out pods. We haven't. We've been taking a break sort of since 2019, but it's coming back.
You're back, baby.
That's how I remember it. Anywhere you find podcasts available, you're going to find
or
such
on
people
Sonar
as
Network,
Claire McConnell,
which is
such
a
people as
competitive podcast network.
Hi, you know what? We're all friends here.
No, we're all friends,
here.
and honestly, there's no competition at all. You know, we all love to support each other, and so you know, if you love what the Pod Cavern gives you, come over to the sonarnetwork.com. Check out what we got. We got a bunch of cool Toronto podcasts. A lot of comedy. We're heavy on the comedy, and honestly, the founder of the network is really handsome. So he's worth checking it out for alone.
I think it's Mike, guys. If anyone didn't pick up on that, I think it's Mike.
My name's not Mike.
That's true. Your name's not Mike. And if you guys didn't think that was funny at all, what we've done today, then maybe the Sonar Network's not for you. No, I'm just kidding. No, you should definitely check out all the cool shows at the Sonar Network.
Can I just say something before you go on about the Sonar Network? Don't stop listening to Pod Cavern shows to let in room for Sonar Network shows. What you need to do is keep listening to Pod Cavern as much as you have been. Just vigorously listening, but make room in your life for the Sonar Network shows.
Can I just say one little thing about the podcast before you finish what you're saying, Mike?
Yes,
I think
please.
if you're going to let podcasts into your heart, you need to let them into your life. And how do you do that? You go to Sonar Network. You go to the Pod Cavern. You go to a bunch of different places, and you take a little from column A, a little from column B, and you put them together.
John, can I just stop you right there before you finish?
Of course.
I just wanted to say that what I also think you should do is, if you're going to let podcasts in your life, you should kill the people that are stopping you from listening. Mm-hmm. Go to them.
Yeah.
And make sure they never stop you again.
Can I just say something just a little quick something?
No, I don't know if you can. Anyway, this has been...
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if we have time.
That's how I remember it.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're out of time. The guests say we're out of time. And you're right. This is it. This is the end of the show. Hey, everyone. This was so much fun. You can find the rest of the shows at www.podcavern.com. Thanks so much for listening. We'll have these guys back at some point to do TV shows, Star Wars, whatever you want them to do.
Honestly, we're back
anything.
anytime you want. This was so much fun.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
We'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 I love you.